Hello, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about my special interest. Yeah! I get to talk about something that I really like. So I might seem a bit happier in this video than I have in previous videos where I might have sounded a bit dour, a bit sad. So yeah, my special interest. And my special interest at this point of life is digital landscape photography. And how did I get into digital photography? By accident, I suppose. But it was a subject that I had discussed with my partner in previous years when I'd seen, I don't know, we probably were watching a program where someone was doing a landscape shooting session or something. I kind of said, yeah, do you know what, if I wasn't so heavily into my music, that's really something I could see myself doing one day. And as most women do, they keep hold of the one thing you said all year and hang on to it for Christmas and use it as, oh yeah, I bought you a digital camera. Why the fuck have you done that? Oh, well, you mentioned earlier in the year that, you know, if you wasn't so into music, you might see yourself as a photographer. And I went, okay. And I did my Aspie thing, and I was really ungrateful, which is standard for me when I get presents bought for me. Sorry. And I put it to one side. And what she'd done is she gone and bought me a DSLR, digital Nikon camera, which was about 10 years old, but it was still very, very relevant, and it was a nice camera. And as I said, I dismissed it, I put it to one side, and I think I had a couple of days of my own after Christmas where she had to go back to work, and the box was in my way, and I sort of picked it up and I looked at it, and I got it out the box and I kind of held it in my hand and I kind of looked at it, and then I saw this big thick instruction manual, and I thought, this is quite technical really, isn't it? This digital photography, you know, this is something that not everybody can do. You know, this takes a bit of skill, I reckon, and a bit of technical know-how and a splash of creativity. And then it kind of was coming back to me, the reasons I was thinking originally when I said this is something I could see myself doing one day, and I thought, okay. And yeah, I was hooked then. I think that from that point I was hooked. And I went on a binge of watching YouTube videos, which is how you learn anything in life, isn't it? I mean, who needs school or universities? You learn everything on YouTube. That's how I learned how to play the Weizenborn guitar, so I thought, well, that's how I'll learn to be a photographer, and that's what I did. So yeah, digital photography, why do I like it? It's like got a perfect combination of elements for someone with Aspergers. It's got a never-ending wealth of information to research. It's really technical, loads of techie stuff that I can research and I can try different things. Love that. It's got a really big creative side to it, and I was really good at art when I was younger. I never went to college, although I nearly went to college to study graphic design, and I feel there's a creative person inside me trying to get out. It was trying to get out when I was doing my music, and I definitely saw myself as someone that could take really good photographs. One of the other main instant benefits for me, I think, was it was going to get me out of the house. Now, I'd already decided, without even thinking about it, that landscape photography was going to be my thing. I'm drawn to those pictures, and I think that comes from a love of classic art. The classic masters like Rembrandt and Constable. I love going to the National Gallery in London and looking at all these oil paintings that have got this kind of photographic feel to them. And that's kind of the style of photography I have now. I have this painterly effect to my photographs, and that's something that has been said about me. It's not something I go around saying, but it's something that I would agree. So it's got a creative edge to it, but it gets me out of the house and it gets me engaged with the world more, a lot more than I was sitting at home in my little studio composing and recording music. It gets me out into the countryside. I've got a bonus of getting exercise. Takes me to places I've never been to before. It makes me want to get out and go to more places that I haven't been to before, and it's just win-win-win. There's no downside to photography for me. It's the perfect pastime for, I think, anyone with Aspergers, to be honest with you. It's also got an end result, an end product, where I can look back at my hobby and say, and have something to show for it. There's so many hobbies that people take up where you haven't got anything to show for it at the end of it. And I feel, going back to the previous video about validation, people can look back and go, look at the photographs he took, aren't they wonderful? And so yeah, photography is just a perfect storm for me. It's got everything, and I've hit the ground running with it, and I've done my usual thing, and I've gone into it head first, 100 miles an hour. I'm just soaking up all the information I can about technique, about tech, and yeah, I'm really into it. I've got myself a website, www.aaronradford.com. All my best of my photographs are on there. I'm on the usual Instagram and Facebook and Flickr and 500px. So if you were interested, you could go and look at some of my photos. But this is me about telling you about my hobby, and it's something that I'm really passionate about and I get excited about. I think about all the time. And going back to my obsessive interest video, where I wake up in the morning thinking about it, I go to bed thinking about it, and I pretty much think about it all in between. My whole week just revolves around Sunday mornings. I make a big effort to get up and out and travel to a location an hour before sunrise to set myself up to take photographs through what's called the blue hour, which is the hour leading up to sunrise, and the golden hour, which is the hour after sunrise. Pretty much found out early on that unless you're taking photographs in those time frames, you're not going to get very good photographs, and all the best photos you see out there are taken around those times. So I knew I had to make the supreme effort to get out of my bed early, and every Sunday my alarm goes off sometimes as early as 3 o'clock in the morning, and then later in the year it goes back to sort of a more reasonable time, say like 4:30, and I'm up, out, driving to locations, setting up before the sun's up, and the best time of the week for me is just standing there with my camera set up, just perfect peace and quiet, total tranquility, at peace with myself, at peace with my surroundings, nobody about, which is bloody brilliant. I'm not being surrounded by loads of other people. It's what I live for now, that one day of the week. The rest of the week, and that's another upside for me, is the post-processing. It's a very technical and skilled thing, it makes or breaks your photos. I happen to be good at it, and it's something that I can shoehorn into the middle of the week when I can't get out taking photos. I've got a back catalogue of photos to edit, and I will spend anything up to an hour on each photograph just editing, getting everything perfect, the attention to detail. And you know how I love attention to detail, so editing photographs to me is wonderful. I love it. Other people who aren't on the spectrum, who also do digital photography, say it's quite a chore and they don't really enjoy that part of it and they don't spend much time on it. To me that's equally as enjoyable as going out on site and taking the photograph. I've already upgraded my gear from that basic camera that my partner bought me. I'm selling prints. I've got a calendar. In fact, I've got 2 calendars out this year. I've got one for general sale, and I've got a private one I did for some family and friends. I'm hoping to get my first exhibition sorted out next year in my local town. I've already spoken to the owners of the local gallery, and they've seen my portfolio and they're really impressed, and they want to do a little feature with me. And yeah, I'm just loving it. And you can probably tell from the tone of the video that if you want to engage me, you talk about photography to me, and I will be a different person completely, because it's my special interest, and I've just got there's no inhibitions when I'm talking about that. I don't even think about the awkward social interaction side of it. I can just talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. So yeah, just wanted to talk about how photography at the moment is the big thing in my life for the foreseeable future. And if you want to see my photographs, please go to my website at www.aaronradford.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.